Hello and welcome back to South Asian Overground with me, Talina, and I am here today with my guest, Pavan, founder of Pavan Beauty, and my gym friend. You're my gym friend.
We are gym friends.
We are. Isn't that cute? But like, it makes me feel like I'm a yummy mummy.
You make me feel like a yummy mummy because I'm so much older than you.
No, you're not even. Like, what are you talking about? But we are gym friends, and we were both going to like the free classes in our gym, and then we just like bonded, and it was cute.
Yes.
And then I discovered you as superstar henna tattooist or artist.
Henna artist turned business founder turned friend of Talina.
Oh, I'm happy to be in your bio. I am happy to be in your bio.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a lot to get through today because you've done a lot of magnificent stuff, and
thanks.
we're going to have a bit of henna-ing.
Yeah.
I keep hustling Pavan into doing henna for me.
It's never a hustle, it's always a pleasure.
And you've got some cute one on your hand right now.
I had to go over it because I was like, we have to do it for the...
And I'm nervous because I'm worried you're going to smudge it, but you're not.
No, I'm so aware of it now, like...
Do you always feel like you have wet henna on your hands, like whenever you're walking around?
No, and in fact, I find it more frustrating. Like, I'll be the one saying to the client, can you keep still? Can you not move? And I get really annoyed if they move and everything, but I'm the first one to do it. Like,
Yeah,
I have my henna
smudge
done
it.
and smudge it, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I've already smudged it a little bit there, but, you know.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. So, Pavan, where are you from?
I was born and raised in East London. Good mate.
Were you? Didn't know that.
Yeah, so I grew up in East London.
East London girl.
Yeah, exactly. And now I've moved to Southwest. So it was a big change. It was like moving to a different country. Mm-hmm. But yeah, grew up in East, and I've got a really good community there, really good roots, and it was amazing growing up there.
So it's funny that I asked you that question, I asked you where are you from, and you said, oh, I'm from East London, but you're also a brown girl.
Brown girl, yep. And
so roots.
Yep.
What are we talking?
So my mum was born and raised in Nairobi, Kenya, and my dad was raised in Amritsar, Punjab.
You know, when anyone ever says Amritsar, it makes me think of Pride and Prejudice.
I know.
You know, no life without wife.
Exactly.
And he's like, I'm from Amritsar.
Honestly, I've only ever had the privilege to visit once, and I got to go with my mum and dad and visit the Golden Temple. It was like goosebumps, amazing, the most amazing experience. So, and I didn't go to India until I was 21 or 22, so it was a bit of a culture shock. But
Oh wow, yeah.
you feel that pull. That was the first time I actually felt that pull.
Right.
Like, there's a belonging here. Like,
Okay, yeah.
I belong here. I belong. But then I also felt that thing of being in India, they don't really treat you like you're Indian.
Yes.
Because we're so westernized. And then being in Britain, you're like, oh, okay, but are you really British or are you Indian? So that's the first time I ever felt that, what am I? Where do we belong?
It's like you've answered like a lot of my questions already for me, so we're going to get into them.
Yeah.
Because you are British Indian, right?
Yeah.
So did you feel before you went to Amritsar that the pull, because you've said when you got there you felt that pull, but was it existing before, or wasn't until you stepped foot on the Amritsar soil that you were like...
I think it was existing before, and also to Nairobi, Kenya as well. I know Lagos is a very different place to Nairobi, Kenya, but my husband had a gig in Lagos when he does magic, so he had a gig there, and I felt a pull there as well, because we grew up with the whole, you know, my mum spoke Swahili,
right,
and we had all of the, you know, those you know those pictures, I don't know if you remember them, they're like those iron pictures of like elephants and the safari basically,
yeah,
and so I do have a pull there as well. So I feel like I love culture. This is why whenever I go on holiday, I need to learn about the culture, and I need to really immerse myself in
yeah
it. I don't know whether that answers your question or if I went off on a tangent, but yeah, feeling the pull, was it then? I think it was before, and then I think stepping on that soil kind of like confirmed it.
Yeah,
basically.
Like this is sort of where I'm meant to be, but I'm also meant to be in the UK as well.
Yeah, because I feel that pull here.
Yeah,
I am so British. I do love the UK. I mean, I'm a bit over the weather right now. Over the weather, but yeah, like we're British to the core.
Yeah, 100%. So you're British Indian. So how do you balance that feeling of you've got that pull there, you've got that pull here, but then you don't feel that brown when you're in Amritsar?
Yeah. And
you probably don't feel very, very white or
No.
British.
No.
Should I say? Sorry.
Yeah.
When you're here.
Yeah.
So where do you fit? Because I feel like that. I'm half English, half Indian, and I've been brought up in a very westernized family, but then I have this pull, like you describe it, towards India, and I'm like, oh.
I try not to fit. I try to just be me. Like, there's no, I don't try and fit in. That's the answer. I just do me. And I feel as I've got older, that we call it kitsch, that pull is stronger. Like, even like looking now at that carom board there, like, it's just, I feel that pull and I love to embrace it even more. For me, when I started out business, one of the first questions would be, how do you feel as a South Asian female business owner? And I never saw myself like that. I just felt like a business owner. All of a sudden, these boxes made me feel restricted. Whilst I appreciate being South Asian, and I love it, and I love our roots and all of that stuff, I just want to be me.
Yeah.
So the labels for me come after.
Right.
And being South Asian, I live it. Being British, I live it.
Yeah.
I don't say it.
Yeah, you don't need to label it. Yeah, you may as well get off this podcast
Yeah.
then. What are you doing here? But that's why it's interesting that
Yeah.
when I asked you where you're from, you said, oh, I'm from East London.
Yeah. And my roots are in... Actually, funny thing, I was walking through... story. I was walking through Westfield, and a guy... He startled me. I thought he was going to come up and talk to me or whatever. He goes, I'm so sorry, I scared you. And then he tried to make me feel better by making a conversation. He said, where are you from? I said, born here, but I'm Indian. He goes, why you say born here? He goes, you say you're Indian. Well, you don't need to say that you're born here. And he got offended that I was saying that I'm born here. And I was like, all right, I'll let you just chat. But it's funny how people's perspective is, like, you know, very patriotic.
Yeah, 100%. But that's also a question that I'm interested in and exploring on this podcast is, how do you feel when people ask you that question? Because at our gym, that's why I started thinking about it. People all the time would say, oh, like, where's your tan from? Like, you're so tan, like, where are you from?
Yeah.
And that would come up a lot. And I didn't find it offensive. But then when I researched it, I know a lot of people do find it offensive.
Okay. I could see why people find it offensive. Well, saying that, because my sister is married to an Englishman, as white as you like, blonde hair, blue eyes, and Cockney, you know, not Cockney, but like East End.
Yeah.
And my niece, Remy, she's white.
Yeah.
And my sister would get really offended because people would say to her, God, she doesn't look like your daughter. She's so fair. She doesn't look like your daughter. And my sister would be like, because my nephew's darker and he tans so quickly. So that I can understand like how that person would feel a bit like, why are you so dark or whatever, because she gets it the same, but the opposite, like, how is she your daughter? She's so fair.
Yeah.
Like, I think people just don't think before they
No,
talk.
exactly. Like, just because someone looks a certain way doesn't mean that they are.
She looks like her face. The only difference is the skin colour. But yeah, that's...
So while we're keeping it on the South Asian topic, let me just address my cue cards. What does being South Asian mean to you personally?
Everything.
I
like,
love that.
more so now than ever before. But I will say, growing up, so my mum and dad were the type of people, our school Christmas parties, our school was very, my primary school which was very white, very English, growing up. But my parents would be the ones that would make samosas for our Christmas parties, spring rolls for our Christmas parties, and, you know, they would embrace it. We had such a lovely upbringing in the area we were in, I grew up in. And so without saying it, we were celebrating being South Asian all the time. So yeah, being South Asian to me is everything. Like now, even in the beauty industry. So I started my henna 10 years ago, the henna bar.
Yeah.
And for me, then even, I tried to, and I've never said this before, but I tried to make it as mainstream and Western as possible. Now, 10 years later, people are celebrating the South Asian beauty regime.
Yeah.
So now I'm going back to, oh, it's like a turmeric latte, it's like oiling your hair, it's all of these things being celebrated now. They were never celebrated 10 years ago when I started.
Yeah.
So it was so much harder for me because I had to kind of whitewash it, if you like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And it's probably taken you a bit of time to unwhitewash it, you know?
You're right. And it's exactly that. And I was like, God, am I too ahead of my time? Did I start the henna bar too early? But we were like super busy. But then along the way came the whole cultural appropriation thing. But then now people are, and this is the divisive stuff that I feel like, yes, it's good to stand out as South Asian. Yes, it's good to stand out as a female.
Yeah.
But then too many boxes can get divisive. And I think, you know, oh, you can't wear henna because you're white.
Yeah.
Or you can't wear henna because, or you can't sell henna because you know, you look a certain way or you didn't grow up with it. And I think that's more harmful than it is good. And all the things that our immigrant parents did to kind of, you know, merge and
make us feel like
part of it,
comfortable and safe and wanted.
I feel like there's a, and I've never said this before, but I feel like there is a danger to undo all of that. Not all of that, but undo some of it at least. And they've worked so hard to do that. So why do we want to take and hold and hoard when I just want to share?
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to get onto this in a little bit because I'm very interested in this topic of sharing it and like also the cultural appropriation aspect.
Yeah.
But before we do, I wanted to just touch on your parents because you've spoken about them and you did like a lovely post on Instagram about your mum as well for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And family is such a big part of South Asian culture. I mean, it is for everyone, but for us, it really, truly is.
Yeah.
So what have their roles been like in your journey, in your South Asianness, but also your journey into business, which we're going to get onto in a little bit?
So I'm one of 5 kids.
Wow.
Now I realise like how hard my mum and dad work with their own businesses to take care of us, make us like want for nothing. Like they did so well. But my dad, I lost 4 years ago now. But he was like that proper Punjabi big man, like, and we were his cubs, you know, take care of us, businessman. He opened, when he first came here, he worked in Ford. Well, before that even, my mum said that he would sell buttons, like, you know, came with £20 in his pocket, which is a lot like a lot of immigrant parents. And then he started his own business. So he has a double glazing company, which now my brother runs. And my mum started her first beauty salon when I was 3, I think. So entrepreneurial parents, and
always been in the family.
I never thought to ever work for anyone because I've seen the rewards that my mum and dad gave me and my brother. So my 3 older sisters, they saw the 1-bedroom apartment, then buying the whole house, then moving to the nice house, and the sharing the clothes and the sharing the beds and all that stuff. Whereas me and my brother, we saw violin lessons, karate lessons,
whatever you want,
the tuition, you know, shopping in nice places and all of that stuff. So there's only a 5-year gap between me and my sister who's above me, and there's a 1-year gap between them. But they saw the
hardship,
grind, and the upward, you know. But me and my brother saw the rewards, and that's why I thought, you got to have your own business. That's the only thing. So in terms of the influence that they've had is like huge. It's like, well, this is how it's meant to be.
And I don't think people realise, like, you know, we had the first episode of this podcast was with Nish, who owns En route, and he was saying, one of the co-founders, and he was saying that his dad came with £18 in his pocket. You're saying your dad came with £20. Like, people don't realise the hardship that we have gone through as a culture to provide for our families.
And I think there was a cap on how much they could bring.
Really?
So I think it was like £25 or something like that. I heard from someone. So, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
And they left their family. They left everything they knew. In their 20s. Like, I'm in my late 30s now, and I couldn't leave everything.
No,
like,
I know.
It takes courage.
It really
takes
does.
A lot of courage. But, yeah.
And also, like, from the perspective of you and connecting with other people, see, we've connected, we're both brown galleys.
Yes.
But do you find it easier to connect with South Asian people? Because your husband is also South Asian.
Yeah.
Were you only going to be with a brown guy?
No.
No?
No. Honestly, I swear to God, the fact that he wears a turban, because my dad wore a turban, all of that was a fluke.
A fluke.
It was just him for him.
Yeah, you love magic.
Yeah, he could be white, blue, black, brown. It wouldn't have mattered. I know I would have married him. But it just so happened that he is Sikh and wears a turban.
He's like your dad, it just so happens. Oh, that's ironic, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah. And even watching him tie his turban, it gives me that nostalgic feeling. Like, I don't think people who don't have a father who wore a turban, they don't understand that the ritual of it. But when, you know, watching magic tie it, it's just like the most beautiful thing. And watching my dad when he used to tie it, it's like the most lovely thing. It's just amazing.
And it's like the care that goes into it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a discipline, and it's so regal. Anyone that wears a turban, my brother-in-law wore a turban on his wedding, and I just feel like it just makes you look like a king. I love it.
Because it's like a crown, isn't it?
Yeah. So I just feel like going back to what you asked was the whole South Asian influence on magic and like my life is just, I think it kind of intertwines. Like you can't predict it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would like to talk about the main event. Not really, because everything's the main event, but Pavan Beauty and Henna. So you founded Pavan Beauty.
Yes.
Which is what exactly?
So we started off as Pavan Henna.
Yeah.
And that was... Okay, so I started doing henna when I was 15.
Yeah.
I was at a family wedding and I didn't like the way the henna was being done, so I just started messing around.
Oh, did you? So you were like, oh, sack this off, don't like this, I'm going to do it myself.
And I was hooked. And then I was like...
And were you good, sorry to interrupt you, but were you just good at it immediately?
Well, the people were like, my family friends were like, oh my God, you should have done the henna. And I was like, I've never done it before.
And you just had that...
I was just
cool.
pulled to it. And then I went on a course, did the course, and I was like, and I remember coming up the escalators and I said to my my aunt, and I said, I want to be the best at this. And that was it, my journey began. So I started doing henna in like school fairs. Then I started doing brides at university. One bride said to me, gosh, you're really fast, you should go for the Guinness World Record. So I did. I broke the Guinness World. I called my dad and I said, Dad, I want to go for the world record. And he goes, yes, you must do it. What do you need? Like money? And I was like, no, Dad, it's fine. I'll let you know what I need. So the world record at the time was 214 henna armbands in 1 hour. And I did 314.
Wow.
And then I got that Guinness World Record. And then I approached the BBC because there was an Asian family on there. Were you the Masouds? You'll be too young.
In EastEnders?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've done EastEnders, haven't you?
Yeah. So I called the BBC and they kept like saying,
I
no.
do remember them.
Yeah.
I do remember them.
And they kept saying, no, you can't get through. And then I kept calling and someone accidentally put me through to the makeup department. And I said, look, there's an Asian family and I know there's going to be a wedding. And when there is, you need henna. And I'm the world's fastest. So you got to call me. And then 2 weeks later, they called me on set. And then I got the job and I worked with them. And then I did both the weddings, actually. There's Tamwa as well.
That's so cool.
And then I did, like the Sugar Babes, Alicia Dixon, those kind of people. And then I just kept thinking, there's got to be more than this. Wouldn't it be amazing to have a henna bar? Just like you have a nail bar at the time that those were coming up, brow bars coming up. And then I approached Selfridges, they kept saying no. So then in between I approached Topshop, they gave me an opportunity. And then we went with those figures to Selfridges. We said it works. They put us in trial for a year, and 10 years later, here we are. We've done like
wild.
Yeah.
And for people that actually don't know what henna is and what it represents for us as a culture, please can you give us a little crash course?
Yes. So centuries ago, henna was used to cool down the skin. So henna is a plant. I've got my comb here, and I can show you. The brown henna is a plant. So this is grown in like warmer climates. We crush up the powder, mix it with essential oils, and you apply it on your skin. And that used to, centuries ago, people used to use it on the palms of their hands and on the soles of their feet. Over the years, it became decorative, and now it's just really associated with auspicious occasions like weddings, Diwali, Eid, all of those kind of good things that you celebrate. And it also represents fortune, wealth, health, happiness, prosperity, all of the good stuff. It's seen as a good omen for weddings. So like when you wear something borrowed, something blue. Yeah, yes. Exactly. So even people who don't like henna, they're like, oh my God, you need to put a little dot on at least for Sagan, just as a goodwill gesture to have the henna on the skin. So in short, it's very important, and it's never going away.
And is it true for all religions in South Asian culture?
Yeah, so Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, but then also African culture, also Arab culture.
Yeah.
So it's, Middle Eastern, tribal, it's all of that. Henna is significant in so many cultures. So yeah, definitely. It's so important, and like I said, it's not going anywhere. What my goal was to make it more accessible.
Yeah.
We're brown girls living in London. We're always going to need henna for a henna night. We're always going to need henna for our weddings. So why is it available only the way it was available 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Why can't it have those lights in a department store, professionally tested, approved? All of that stuff is like refining what we've been doing for centuries.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think like it's such a, you feel great like when you wear henna. Like when you do my henna for me, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't stop looking at my hands. I'm like, they look so cute. It just makes you feel beautiful and a bit sassy and empowered.
Yeah, empowered. And that's, the three words of our brand is empower, celebrate and create. We're empowering people, we're celebrating the culture, and we're creating.
Yeah.
That's what the whole brand is about. But like you said, people who wear it, like, you know, you feel like doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Like it does. It just makes you feel a bit more elevated.
And it also stops me from getting a tattoo, because I'm constantly like, oh, maybe I'll get a tattoo. But my mum and dad will disown me if I get a tattoo before I'm 50, because that's the rule. I can get one when I'm 50.
Right.
Great. So it stops me from because I'm like, okay, like, look at my hands, they look great. And the great thing about yours is I don't have an allergic reaction. Tell us about that.
You told me,
because I've got an allergy to henna, which sucks. Being
and
a
what
brown
did you
girl.
say to me? You were like, I can't do it, and I was like, yes, you can. And you're like, no, I can't do it. And I was like, let me do a dot. And because I know all of our products are non-toxic, vegan friendly. So what we've done, I feel like I'm pitching again to the dragons, but basically, we are the only brand that have tested our products to make sure that they are cosmetically approved, so that they can sit on a shelf right next to your mascara, right next to your nail polish, in
She's
a
doing the
department store.
pitch.
Exactly. So that's why you know our products are premium, and it's just about refining it, and I feel it deserves that platform. It's such an integral part of our culture that can be shared with everybody. It deserves to have that clean finish, beautiful look.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, you've explained, which I was going to ask you, but you told me already, about the first moment you discovered how much you loved henna and that you wanted to be a henna artist when you were 15.
Yeah.
And you so rightly were like, oi, you're not doing my henna properly.
Yeah.
I need to do it myself.
Let's move on,
But I'm sure, as much as that was an amazing experience, and it was beautiful that you went and you shared that with people at the schools and stuff, did you face discrimination? Did you face people kind of looking at you being like, what's on your hands? What is that thing?
There was one time I did an event, and it was with a very popular brand right now, actually.
Right.
I won't take their name.
Can't say names.
And they've done really well since. But I did it at a fair in Gunnersbury Park, and they asked me to collaborate with them. And this was before I had the henna bar or anything, or before I was even a name. And it was, the funny thing is, she wasn't, she was like of African descent. So, you know, it wasn't like, she's also a minority, but when I was doing the henna, she goes, what is that? It looks like poo on the hands. It looks like shit. It looks like shit on the hands. And I was like, and I was like, we were so insulted. I remember because my sisters would take me everywhere at that point. I was too young. We left. But I was like, this is supposed to be a professional collaboration with people. And that's it. And the funny thing is, it was from a culture that I didn't expect to hear that from.
Yeah.
So that was probably the only time I've ever heard that. And then beyond that, when we got into Selfridges and that kind of thing, when people would say, did you find it hard being South Asian and culturally this, blah, blah, blah. And my answer to that is no, because I never let any of those factors even enter my mind. It was just literally, I'm going to approach, and if they say yes, they say yes. If they say no, they say no.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be due to a reason or whatever. Now I am more aware of the variables around us, as like, it could be this, X, Y, Z. But before, I think as you get older, you overthink. Like, how do I approach a buyer? What needs to be in the subject box? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't even think of anything like that. I was like, hey, this is my idea. I didn't even structure. I didn't even structure my email properly, and I don't even know how I think I received the reply because I kept calling them and hounding them.
Yeah.
And I think the innocence of when you're younger, and the freeness of the I can do anything.
Yeah.
It's so true that as you get older and whatever, like, these limitations are enforced on you.
100%. And it's also, you know, and I don't want to go into social media side of things because been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, but it is social media comparison, killer of creativity, thief of joy.
Yeah.
Because it's true, and social media means that comparison is so accessible.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect segue, actually, because I was outraged. I was literally outraged by something you posted on Instagram a few weeks ago. It really got to me. And I guess I'm small. I obviously knew these comments existed, but I couldn't believe it. Someone commented on one of your pictures of your henna, I think it could have been from the Dragon's Den video, saying something, I can't remember the exact words, but saying something like, oh, why that looks like poo on the hands, or why would someone want poo on the hands?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what they said.
Exactly. It was along those lines. And even me, I was like, do people still think like this?
This is what I mean. Like, okay, fine.
We're 2024. Like
10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe it's a little bit more, okay, that's a little bit more normal. But now, and on social media where everyone can see, like, have you experienced things like this, you know, more recently in the past few years?
I will be honest with you, Talina. Yes, recently, not when I started. And isn't it funny?
More recently now?
Yeah, and
Mad.
isn't it funny that we are regressing?
Yeah.
Why is that? I don't know. Maybe is it because we're becoming more divisive? Is it because we're labeling ourselves too much? I don't know, but or was it hidden before? I don't know. I don't have the answer. But yes, definitely more now than ever. The other day, you know, that we've got really great South Asian representation on The Apprentice at the moment. And there's a guy on there called Verdi who wears a turban. And I heard him on Radio 1 the other day saying, you know, describing what the turban is. And while I was really happy hearing that, I was also a bit like, are we still here?
Yeah.
Am I still describing to you what a turban
Yeah.
is? This is what my dad and everyone did 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're still here.
Yeah.
So I do question how far we've actually come as a society
Yeah.
in accepting people of different cultures.
Yeah, because we're going backwards. We go
Yeah.
forwards a bit, then we go backwards, then we go sideways, that, and the other.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a vicious circle, but those were my thoughts. I was like, God, are we still here? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's like, is that necessary?
Yeah, 100%. And at the start of this podcast, you spoke about kind of cultural appropriation and that being an argument because, you know, you have that in some black cultures where how people feel about people having braids in their hair that aren't black. And also, you know, with us, with non-South Asian people wearing henna, we also have it with bindis and stuff like that. What's your argument on that? Because you're creating a business where henna is accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
But is there any of that going on for you with the cultural appropriation? What would you say to someone that would say that a non-South Asian person is culturally appropriating?
I'd immediately say that they're appreciating. So no one's going to wear henna if they're there to take the piss out of it, because why would they go through to that effort? And if they did, they're pretty sad. I think we had it when we did henna for Perry Edwards. Like, you know, we had Instagram comments. Why are you doing henna for white people? And I was like, well, isn't that racist? Like,
yeah.
And then how far do you go? Like turmeric lattes, Bikram yoga, hair oiling.
How far do you go? Exactly.
Why is henna not allowed, but you're allowed to go to yoga? Why is henna such an issue, but then you're allowed to do hair oiling or have turmeric lattes, and you know you pay $5.80 for that in like a Starbucks.
Yeah.
When you can buy a pack of
That's true.
Like, you know, brows. Why is brows okay? I feel like people pick and choose what they want, and like henna's like, oh, because it's decorative. Why do you want to wear it decoratively? No, but yes, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's like to share
and celebrate
a beauty regime that is, yes, that, you know, we have a certain onus to it, but there is no one place. Like, everyone lives everywhere now, you know? Why can't we share that? So like I said, like, my thing was convenience. So when now our own are coming to the henna bar, I'm like, yeah, I've won. Because before that, it was just tourists and Western people who didn't know how to get hold of henna. But now when I see our own South Asian girls who know they can get it done elsewhere, maybe cheaper, maybe free, but they come after work to get their henna done because they're attending a wedding or whatever, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
We're kind of, it's like, we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my whole thing on this whole cultural appropriation is, my opinion is that if you know enough about you don't need to know it to the point of like, you know, where you can take an exam on it.
Yeah.
But if you can appreciate where it comes from and you can enjoy it while you're wearing it, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I love that because it's making our culture way more accessible.
And I've gone past so many people, and I know they've had henna done at our henna bar, white people when I see them with the henna, and I'm like, I feel proud.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, we're doing something for our culture. We're putting our culture on the map.
Yeah. And I love it. Like, one of the trainers at our gym, Venus, shout out Venus.
Yeah.
I saw her the other day. She had henna on her hands in the gym. I've got my henna on my hands in the gym. It's just cute.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's cute. It's a celebration of our culture, and I love to see it on other people.
And that's the thing. Like, now I can say, you know, it's celebrating our culture, but when I started it, it was never about that. It was like, honestly, it was as simple as, oh God, this is so nice. Let me do it for everyone.
Yeah, simple.
That was it. It wasn't like, oh, I want to put our culture on the map, or oh, I want to make a statement. Literally, it was like, this is so pretty. How can I do it on everyone?
Yeah.
It was such an innocent intention.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you've got your henna bar in Selfridges. You've done henna for the likes of Perry Edwards, Alicia Dixon, Rudimental. You've done henna for weddings in EastEnders.
Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely blooming hilarious. But Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
And I know you're sick of talking about it, probably.
No, it's nice.
And who knows exactly what date this podcast episode's coming out. I don't know at the moment. Professional. But you did Dragon's Den and you bossed it. You absolutely bossed it. My dad was like randomly watching it at home in their
How
place in Dubai.
funny.
And I went downstairs and I was like, that's my mate. That's my mate. So how did that opportunity came about? And how has it been as a platform for you, for your henna bar, for your henna cones, etc.?
So the opportunity came about because they actually got in touch with me years ago. 10 years ago, 7 years ago, a few years ago, and I was like, I was never ready. And then I saw a friend of mine on the show a year before, and I was like, she did really well. And I was like, you know what, sod it, let me just do it. So I got in touch with them, and I was like, this is my business, what do you think? And they're like, oh my God, we're so interested. So then all of a sudden the process started, and it went away with me. So, like, okay, you've got to do the first audition, because you have to audition.
You have to audition.
So, because they need to know if you look good on camera,
Yeah,
what your business
yeah.
is, blah, blah, blah. And everything, it kind of just like, when the road lays out for you, it's like, oh, I've gone through that one. Oh, okay. Okay, next one. Okay, next one. I swear to God, I was on the phone to one of the producers, and I was like, I'm just going to do the phone call, and I'm going to fob her off. Those were my exact words to my husband. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, okay. Oh, all right then. Okay. And then all of a sudden, I'm there in the studio pitching to the Dragon. So I think I'm very I'm very like intentional, and I know when my body's telling me to do something.
Do something, yeah.
And I feel like it was definitely right to do it because the path just laid out for me so effortlessly. And then the only thing that was stopping me was, what will people think?
Yeah.
And
Technical difficulty.
oh, sorry. And I keep coughing. Sorry.
So just remember where was your sentences, so we can.
Yeah, fine.
What will people think?
I just need to blank that.
Yeah, it's all right. We don't have much left anyway, it's fine.
Is it going okay?
Yeah, it's
you
going
happy?
great.
Okay, good.
I would obviously like to talk to you for ages, but because it's fucking, they're going to start speaking and shit.
Yeah. No. We'll push it along, whatever you want.
Yeah, just from the.
Okay.
Okay. Should I start? Yeah. So the only thing that I was thinking that was going to hold me back was what will people think? Because, we as a community can be quite judgmental.
Massively
and we
South Asian.
base the way we treat people on people's success and money and that kind of thing. And, business is not easy. So I was very scared about showing my figures and all of that stuff. But then when I realised, is that the only thing holding you back?
Yeah.
I was like, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So I just went for it. And the thing is, I have my amazing, incredible family around me. My husband is like the best. My sisters are the best.
So everyone was very supportive.
Oh yeah, they're
And
like.
I also think, like, in South Asian culture, if it's a business thing, everyone's like, oh yes, do it. Great idea. Do it.
Yeah.
If you're going on a dating show, they'd be like, oh no.
Yeah, but
No.
but you'll say that. But I know if I had, because the only people that knew of my mum, my sisters and my husband. If I had gone and told anybody else I was doing it, I guarantee you they would have put me off.
Yeah.
And they would have said, why do you want to put all your business out on TV? Why do you do it? They would not have encouraged it, which is why I didn't tell anybody. So, and then even when after the show, I needed to there was like the huge up, the buzz.
For the business. So the show's done, it's all aired.
Yeah.
And then Pavan Beauty is seeing like a surge.
Online sales, come into the bar, kudos. Oh my God, you smashed it. People got to see my personality on TV. People also took my business more seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like from males, businessmen who would always think like, oh, okay, yeah, you're doing something. I all of a sudden got the nod from them.
Yeah, they were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause you're on Dragon's Den.
That, but also because I knew my shit. I knew my figures, I knew everything, and they were like, okay, you have a business here. But then came the opinions like, you need to focus on your husband and your future kids, and you need to, what are you making? And I wouldn't have given my figures out on TV, and la 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 la. And I was like, I don't need to hear this. And it was my choice, and what I do with my future kids and my husband is none of your business.
No.
And so it was a mixed, But you just take the good and you hang around with good people who, like you, encourage and, you know, you inspired. But that's what I keep getting. Like, you know, you've done so much for us brown girls. You showed that we could do it. I never thought I could go on Dragon's Den, but I'm definitely going to apply.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they said that you've opened a window or you've opened a door. And I'm like, I'm glad I've done that. If I've done that for the community, then...
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. You've shown women that you can, you know, brown females, that they can go on and they can, because you held your own, and showcase your business and be proud of that, you know. And also, like, the outcome has been brilliant for you in terms of
really has.
For your brand and stuff like that. Overwhelming, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But amazing. And I can't ignore the comment about, oh, why are you not focusing on your kids and your husband and stuff, as if that's the only thing we're supposed to do as brown women.
There are people with that mentality still. You know, there are people who think that, you know, you, like, what are you doing? The business is not for women or whatever, but, you know, you silence the noise. And I've learned to do that a lot.
Just mentally.
I've just, you know, that's why I come to the gym, babe.
Yeah.
I started swimming when I lost my dad, because it was the only time I didn't look at my phone and, like, you know, that clutter.
Yeah.
And then I got into weights, then we got into the sessions, and, like, that's what I do. The gym has now become a lifestyle. It really is. But yeah, it's just, you just got to do the things that help you cut the noise out.
100%.
Yeah.
Final thing I want to ask before we get into a little bit of a naughty little section, is brown females wanting to set up their own business, wanting to make it in the industry, and even if they're doing something which, you know, your henna and stuff is in an environment in the UK where it may not grow and expand necessarily as easy as in another country, right? Because we're a bit more, like, skeptical of those things and whatever. I mean, it's doing bloody well considering.
Yeah.
But advice for women, brown women wanting to set up a business.
Okay, setting up a business is not easy. Obviously, everyone knows that. And you've just got to make sure that you love what you do, because there are going to be parts that are going to make you not love it. You know, finances, even just opening doors. People think it's so easy to get into a department store. The harder thing to do in a department store is to stay there. So I'm really proud that, you know, that we're in Selfridges. But it's about having resilience and knowing that you're going to get a lot of no's before you get the yes. Like, you've really got to love it and really got to believe in it. It can't just be, you know, I've thought of this, right, I'm going to sell carom boards and they're going to be the best carom boards in the world. And, you know, you've really got to believe in your purpose. And I think people are really believing in purpose-driven businesses at the moment.
Yeah.
So what is your purpose? What is your why? And I know it can sound cliche, but really and truly, I feel a pull. Every time I wanted to come away from doing henna, I'd feel that pull.
Yeah.
That pull, the same pull that I feel when I'm in India, the same pull that I feel when I'm in Kenya. Like, what is that? What, you're here for something. What is it?
Yeah.
What, you know, there's so many times when I'm doing and I'm in my work and I'm in my element and I'm like, yes, I feel like I'm on my purpose. Doing a business, yes, business is for money as well, but I believe you've really got to love it.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's my advice.
Beautiful advice.
Love it. Oh,
love
thank
that.
you.
You always say you feel super relaxed when you're doing henna as well, don't you? Like,
it does. I
it's a
feel like,
release.
yeah, it's in my element. Yeah.
So, question I ask everyone that comes on the podcast is, if you were to have children or whatever, I mean, your feelings towards children, we don't need to get into that. But what is one thing from your culture that you would pass on to them?
The language. I wish I knew more Punjabi. I do know enough, but I stopped talking Punjabi when my grandparents died because they were the only people that I would speak Punjabi to.
Yeah.
So with my mum and dad, you know, I'd speak like messing about. But now what I do is when I speak to someone who is Indian, like I'll go to buy a coffee or someone, I'll say, thank you, G. And like literally they'll give me another free cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Because I'll be talking the language. Or me and my husband will be sitting somewhere and we want to talk about someone and then we'll talk in Punjabi. So I'm
language.
Yeah, That's love the language, and I feel like I've got a superpower when I can speak it. And my niece and nephew, we're teaching them to speak Punjabi because they're mixed as well. So but yeah, the language.
And next thing is, what is something that people wouldn't know about you, considering you're South Asian? Like, it's a surprise. They'd be like, oh, you do that and you're South Asian?
What do you mean? Like a non-South Asian thing that I do?
Yeah, that you do.
As a South Asian. A non-South Asian thing that I do. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think of that one. I'm so sorry.
All right, well, she's rubbish. She's crap. No, she's not. We love. Okay, so I'm going to allow you to make a rap in a second, but
Okay.
only if you can do us an 8-bar rap. I mean, it doesn't have to be 8 bars.
Yeah, don't give me 8
No,
bars.
don't worry about
but
it.
I've got
Don't.
one now.
You've got a rap. Okay,
Yeah.
come on then.
Okay. I feel very privileged to do this.
Ready for this rap.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, hit it.
Yo, let me tell you about a tradition so divine. It's a symbol of culture. It's called henna design. From Morocco to India, across the desert sands, it's more than just ink. It's where tradition stands. Henna on the hands, a culture on display, intricate patterns in a beautiful array. It's more than just art. It's a tale to unfurl, a connection to our roots in every single swirl.
Wait.
I got one more verse.
Oh!
Passed down through generations, a legacy to uphold. In weddings and celebrations, its stories are told. From weddings to festivals, it's a sight to behold. Intricate designs with stories untold.
Did you write that yourself?
Yeah.
You did not go online to find that?
No.
Good. That was sick.
No one else is, like, you can check online.
She's a poetic henna artist, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
A badass poetic henna artist. Okay, well, I definitely think you deserve your rap.
Oh,
So
no.
we'll be back in a second. Okay, so we are back, and Pavan has made her wrap. She's going to try it now. Go
You're going to
on.
make me eat it.
Just eat a bit of it. She's only just eating with some of the...
No, I can taste it.
So thank you so much for tuning in to South Asian Overground with Pavan. She's going to enjoy her wrap now.
It's really good.
Toodles!